All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I got some questions for you. Have you ever committed to doing something and then heard your negative self talk running in the background? You know, the thing that says, you can't do this, what are you thinking, all that stuff? Or you've committed to doing something and then found yourself doing absolutely everything else laundry, surfing the internet, the list goes on. Well, our topic tonight is why your bad habits might be eroding your confidence. Why your bad habits might be eroding your confidence. Now, this conversation is totally for you if you are a leader that wants to have an impact. And this is for you if you want to master the habits of highly successful people and possibly stop that thing called procrastination. My name is Suzanne Hart, and welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. Now, as we get started, what I'm going to ask you to do is, first of all, let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, and who you are called to serve. I see Yetta Decker out there. Welcome, 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 Yetta. So as you jump on, let us know who you are, what part of the globe you're joining us from, who are you called to serve, and what do you do while you're living? The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is to bless a life. That means share this to a page, share this to your page, share it to the page of a friend, because knowledge is so powerful when we share it and we get in communication around it. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is comment. Right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Comment, comment, comment. If you are listening to the replay because you weren't able to be here live, welcome. Hashtag replay. And then also put your name, where you're joining us from, and who you are called to serve. Who you're called to serve. What do you do while you're living? Why do we ask you to put your particulars in the comments section? Because this is your opportunity to network. This is our virtual weekly networking moment. You don't know who might see your information and say, ooh, I got to reach out to that Mr. Ken Decker. I like what he's doing in the world. That's what you want to have start doing. The networking is about to occur. When you love what you hear, and I know you will, then also bless a life. Pass it on to a friend who can use the information. Now, last week, with the comment section was lit up. I loved it. It was a high level of engagement. So this week we're gonna attempt to top that. So comment, get engaged, let us know what you're thinking, ask questions, do all those wonderful things, because when you engage, it just makes for a juicier live, a juicier show. So come on, I see Cindy has joined us. I see Ken has joined us. And I know people will be coming in very, as we progress. So is it time, Taria?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, let's get this party started. My name is Suzanne Hart, and I'd like to welcome you to Unstoppable Mindset. This is where we provide breakthrough strategies for each and every one of you to reset your thinking. This is for you if you are a leader that has a desire to live your life on purpose. If you want to be unstoppable, overcome fear, change, and challenge, and just keep it moving, focused and locked in on what you are planning to do for the next decade, for the next week, this is Unstoppable Mindset. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a beautiful woman sitting beside me, right? You guys have seen her before. This is social media strategist Taria Hodge. And we are going to jump into our topic tonight, which is why your bad habits might be eroding your confidence. Now, Taria, have you ever had one of those moments where your confidence is like just not where it needs to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all have been there.
I was just about to say, I think we all at some point, have those moments where we're not as comfortable as, we would like to be. Our confidence is, not there. So I think this
Mhm.
is going to be a very great conversation this evening. Like, what causes, our confidence, to be low? And I love that you linked it to bad habits. So I am super excited to have the conversation.
I want to talk about bad habits, but I want to talk about procrastination because
Mm,
I know for myself when I am nervous about something, when I want to avoid dealing with something, when something feels bigger than me, or I just don't like or want to do something.
mm,
I will procrastinate, and not as much as I used to. But when I first got into this entrepreneurial journey, I would procrastinate. It was interesting how the woman who doesn't like to clean her house needed to clean the house. Um, Although my boys did laundry, somehow I needed to do my laundry, their laundry, everybody's laundry. There was one point where I was painting walls and redecorating, and I had to face the fact that I was actually nervous and avoiding. Now, this is the interesting thing about procrastination, and I'd love for you to start by commenting on this. Is I know that the more I procrastinate, particularly if it's fear, worry, doubt, uncertainty, discomfort that's stopping me, it just seems to get bigger and bigger and
yeah,
bigger. Fear expands, doubt expands, uncertainty expands. And it's almost like I'm feeding it by avoiding it.
yeah. So it's so interesting, and I'm happy to say not anymore on this one, right? So for me, and it's so interesting that you're talking about this because one of the areas that I used to procrastinate in is writing. Okay.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. When it came to writing, I would do everything else. Like the minute you say to write something, I gotta go take a nap, right? And I actually used to convince myself like around it, right? Like, oh, I need to go lay down. And then when I lay down and I close my eyes, then all of a sudden, all of these brilliant ideas are gonna flow, and come to me. And then when I wake up 6 hours later, I'm gonna have this spectacular masterpiece, right?
Hmm.
No. So then the next day, I would do the same thing. Oh, I just need to go lie down,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
2 has passed and I still haven't written the thing. Then day 3, okay? And then you're down to the wire, okay? And it's crunch time and then you have a few minutes left and then you find yourself like scrambling to put everything together. And so what it is, and I like that you linked it to confidence because it's something that I've always told myself. And I didn't realize that I was repeating it like a mantra, like
Yeah.
I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer. And so I
Oh,
didn't realize that I was actually reinforcing, the mindset of not being a writer. And so therefore writing for me became this big,
yeah.
humongous thing that, was so hard to get over because I kept telling myself like I'm not a writer.
That is so interesting because I think what happens when we avoid and we procrastinate, they go kind of hand in hand. I don't actually think we know that's what we're doing when we first start doing it.
Mhm.
And I love what you're talking about because usually what's running in our head is that conversation about I can't, not good enough, it's too hard, it's too big. I know that Yetta said that for her it's when she has a big ask,
Yeah.
right? It's too big. I don't know how to do this. What if I fail? What if I mess up? All those things. And the more I know for myself, the more I stay in avoidance and procrastination, it's almost like the louder
Yeah.
and more profound that negative self talk is happening. It happens, and I find myself then it becomes harder and harder
Yeah.
and harder to get started.
Yeah, that's exactly true, right? Because like I said, that's what we're doing. We're reinforcing, the
Mhm.
mindset. Like for me, like I can't do it. I didn't feel confident,
Yeah.
writing. And I would compare myself, to like actual editors and writers, right? And I want my copy to be sizzling, just like that. And
Yeah.
so for me is like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I kept telling myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. And not realizing the more I told myself, like, I can't do it, it's like, yeah, if you think you can't, definitely you won't, because that's what you're telling yourself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Someone's writing the stories we tell ourselves. We are masterful storytellers. I want to link this for a minute, Tria, to integrity,
Mm,
because procrastination and integrity are kind of like these opposite things, and sometimes
yeah.
people don't put them together. But one of the things I realize for myself, and we're talking about self-doubt, and we're talking about uncertainty. And one of the things I tell everyone, and we had this conversation, I think, in the mastermind last night, was that when you and I are out of integrity, in other words, you and I don't do what we say we are going to do, what ends up happening is that we actually feed our mind, and we create more doubt. So this is how I look at it. I tell people I take Suzanne everywhere. Can't get rid of her, no matter how I try, no matter where I'm going, there she is, right? And so this is what happens for me is, if I am out of integrity and I commit to doing something that I have been procrastinating about, or traditionally have not done, delayed, the minute I make that commitment, it's almost like my mind, who knows Suzanne, who knows who she is, goes, girl, why did you go say that? You know you're not going to do that. You don't follow through on that. You're going to go do something else. And why I'm highlighting this, because we do have conversations with ourselves, but I think we forget that we know who we are, and we can fool the world, but we can't fool ourselves. So I may say to you, absolutely, Turia, I'm going to do that. But if I have a habit of procrastination, if I have a habit
Mhm.
avoiding, if I have a habit of not being in integrity, my mind will know that. And my mind will go back and kind of tell me who I am and who I've been being. And that, I believe, is where the doubt comes from. Do you?
Yeah, so it was really interesting, yes, on the mastermind to unpack that, right? And I think what it is, well, what I got out of the conversation is being able to do that awareness check. Okay.
Mm,
And so sometimes, for whatever reason, we don't always stop, to do that check or to do
yeah,
that integrity check in. So that's what we're going to start calling it from now on. We're going to call it an integrity check in.
I
So,
love it. I love
yes,
it.
I need somebody to put that in the comments, integrity check in. And so, how do you do an integrity check in? Is every time before you commit to doing something, right? Check in, with yourself.
Yeah,
So, is this something that I'm going to be able to honor my word on? And just literally be honest about it. Okay. Because I think sometimes we all get those moments when we
hmm,
know we should be saying no, right? But for whatever reason, we go ahead and then we commit,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then you commit, and then as soon as the words yes enter out of your mouth, you go, oh, dang it. Now I got to go, do the thing. But you know what's on the inside, like you really don't want to do the thing. So, like, hence the procrastination, right? And so you delay, you delay, you delay,
Ah,
you delay. And the part that's really crazy about it is that for me, I had to realize how much unnecessary stress I was putting myself under. So then there's the stress that's in your mind before you do the thing. And then there's the stress doing the thing because you've waited until the last minute to do the thing. And
yeah,
so now it's like that vicious, circle, right? And so I'm learning, to be aware of that. Like, what are my triggers, right? So some things that off the hand, like I have no interest in doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to, and it changes. Right. And so that's another thing that I'm finding, that there were things that I love to do maybe 3, 4 years ago. And I don't like to do those things
Anymore. Yeah,
anymore.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And so it doesn't mean because I can do those things, mean that I want to
To
do
do.
those things. Right. And so it's to be honest and just have that integrity check in.
Yeah, I see Cindy's put in check integrity check in the comment section. So this was where my shift began to happen when I started linking procrastination, avoidance, and integrity together, and they're both in my mind they're at equal different ends of the continuum.
Mm-hmm.
And integrity is to be and honor my word.
Yeah.
When I really got what that meant, to be and honor my word, and that my word was my character in the world, things began to shift. And so what happened for me, and last week, if you watched us, we defined different words because, I said, if I can't see the word, right, if I don't have a picture of the behaviors that go with the word, they just come out of my mouth. So for me, integrity meant to honor my word and clean it up if I wasn't able to do something. But when I got clear on that,
Yeah.
this is what began to happen for me, Sharia. Before, if you asked me something, I would answer from a place of looking good. Who
Mhm.
who out there does that? From a
Yeah.
place of looking good. So in other words, I'm not really going to think about what I'm saying. I'm going to be more preoccupied with showing up looking good in the crowd, the solution person, the doer, all these different things. I was into looking good. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I can do that. All this sort of stuff. When I got present to what it meant to break my word,
Mm.
how people began to see me as I procrastinated because I was not committed to my word. Another success habit. I wasn't committed to my word. What began to happen was my language that came out of my mouth became more intentional
Yeah.
because now I understood the impact. This is how people are going to relate to me. Someone who doesn't honor her word, someone who puts things off and doesn't fulfill. That was the shift for me. Because then I was like, okay, so, and anybody who knows me, sometimes I'll go, I need to think about that,
Mm-hmm.
right, before I answer you. I need to check my schedule. I need to, because now I know an answer in the moment,
Yeah.
even if I didn't think through it, is still binding. So it is really to stop and go, as you said, do my integrity check. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
See if I'm actually committed, or is this my need to not look bad, to look good, to seem popular, to look powerful, to look however I'd like to show up, or just to avoid the saying no, because I used to think I had to justify
Yeah.
my no, right? Whereas no just means no, no, we're done. No, I'm not interested. No, I don't want to. But I
I
think
think
about that
that's a
word,
big one.
right?
Yeah.
And so it was when I got what integrity meant that I began to shift. But this was the other thing, is when I also got what it meant for me and the impact on Suzanne, the doubt, the uncertainty, how it eroded my belief in myself, how it eroded my confidence. Because remember, I could be everywhere. That is when the shift happened.
Mm. Yeah, I love it, and I like what you talked about, like the no, right? Because sometimes we put so much stuff around no that
Yeah.
doesn't need to be around no. So because you said no, like no, that people aren't gonna like you, any less. Well, sometimes. And if they like you less because you said no, then they
They're not
probably
your
didn't
people.
like you. Yeah, they probably didn't like you much in the first place, right? Because then they would understand the reason why, you're saying no. Okay. And so sometimes we make no, saying no, mean a whole bunch of stuff when it doesn't have to be. Okay.
Mhm.
And I love that you put it, by saying no, it still allows me to show up in my best self.
Yeah.
Because if I said yes, then I will be less than being my best self. You
Ooh,
you won't get the
that's
yeah, you
good.
won't get you won't get the best of me. You would get the can I say it on your show? Maybe the half-ass
Yeah,
part of me,
absolutely.
because I'm trying to overcommit. Okay.
Mhm.
And so that's the thing, that's the real stuff, like
Yeah.
being able to do the integrity check, and then just being courageous enough, just to say no when no is needed.
Well, you just brought a whole other piece, right? So how many of you listening procrastinate not out of not wanting to do something, but because you've overloaded your plate,
Hmm.
and procrastination is just the thing that happens. I've said yes to too many things. I want to be that person that's everywhere doing all sorts of stuff, and I can't actually physically show up in all my commitments. Therefore, I don't honor my word. And it shows up possibly as procrastination, or it feels like procrastination. But really what's happening is that you're not managing your time. And another habit that we talked about last week is successful people master themselves in time. That means they say yes, and yes truly means yes, but they only bring into their world what they are able to manage and master.
Okay. It's so interesting because I feel like, you were probably in my mind last week, because that was like literally one of the aha moments for me, right?
Mhm.
And I think the aha moment came, I think it was Wednesday of last week. And I sat and I took a look at my day,
Yeah.
right? And I just looked at how my day went. And I just had a sense of joy and a sense of fulfillment and a sense of living on purpose. And immediately, what came to mind for me was the book, The One Thing,
Mhm.
right? And then it's like I had to once again stop and do that check. Like, how many things, not even things that are on the plate, but the direction in general
Yeah.
that you're going, right? So sometimes we come to like a fork in the road, and sometimes we pray that the fork is just so simple, right? That is a two-pronged fork, but no, most forks have 4 or 5 prongs, right?
That's right. That's
So you are this 5-pronged fork, in the road, and you feel yourself like, oh, which way, and literally trying to spread yourself out
right.
in every
Mhm.
direction. And I just had to get present to, oh, what is it that really brings me joy? Where am I operating, as my
Yeah.
best self? Okay. And making the decisions to always be on purpose. And like when you're operating on purpose, then there's no room or no space, for procrastination. Sure, you might have things, and this is, another interesting thing that comes up about why we procrastinate. So sometimes we might procrastinate because there might be things that we don't know how to do,
Yeah.
right? And then you got to go figure out how to do it, right? So it seems overwhelming. But when you know that you are operating on purpose, I think there's a desire and there's a fuel there that,
Absolutely.
to say, well, let me go ahead and figure it out. And so you're not sitting in action, right? Maybe the action that you're taking is the action to figure things out or figure this
Right.
out,
Yeah.
right? And it's such a wonderful thing to be present to. So like my aha moment.
But you're bringing a few things together, and this is awesome because one of the things we learned about the success habits is they all
Yeah.
are they touch each other. In other words, one affects the other, and it's kind of like this domino effect. And I coined it the pathway to success. Right? There's a clear pathway to success. Success leads clue. Just get on the yellow brick pathway to success road and do the do. But one of the things that we talked about was that this is all about alignment, really. And what I'm hearing you say is when I am in alignment, I do not procrastinate.
Mm-hmm.
Not procrastinate. So let's talk a little bit about alignment. So if anyone works with Suzanne, the first thing you got to write is that beautiful vision worthy of your life, colorful, playful, see the picture, paint the picture, smell the picture, taste the picture. You're all over this vision. But this is the thing that also happens, and this is how you don't bring stuff that when you get to that 5-pronged road, fork in the road, right? When you and I have a vision that's crystal clear, and line up our actions with that vision, you are surprised at how many things it eliminates,
Yeah.
and how clearly the sequencing of events actually unfold.
Yeah.
Right? Particularly when you have visions and you have clear goals. For me, I procrastinate less because I'm actually building out my pathway in a very sequential way. And if it doesn't go in that pathway, it doesn't get on my plate unless it's the thing that brings me joy, floats my boat, melts my butter, and makes me dance. Right? Those are my hobbies and my other things. But when it comes to this piece, you're talking about being in total alignment. The other thing you're talking about, I know that when I'm in alignment and I have a clear vision of where I want to go, procrastination is less likely because of fear, because of any of those things. Because, and I say this all the time, because that vision is pulling me.
Yeah.
And that pull is bigger than fear. It's bigger than doubt. It's bigger than uncertainty. And it's actually that pull of my vision that breaks through procrastination and has me move and kick fear in the butt, really, or dance with fear. And we go in because that's what happens, because I'm on fire with a vision worthy of my life.
Yeah. And I love that you say that, because that's what it's really all about. Like, so do you, like, how often do you revisit the vision, right? And so one of the things that I definitely picked up from one of our mastermind calls is touching the vision every day. So, being able, and once again, another Suzanne nugget, like I actually took the time to record the vision, like put it on a voice recording. It's right there on my phone. And in the morning, as I wake, I listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that that's such a powerful, exercise to do, because once again, it shapes us. It reminds us, let me just put it that way. It reminds us on the path that we're supposed to be on.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. So sometimes you're like, oh, okay, this is the vision. And then as you go about your daily activity, you're not touching the vision. It becomes fuzzy. It becomes unsure. Like you have all of the negative self-talk, right? Can I really do this? Is it really possible? And if you're not touching it, you definitely forget it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you just find yourself once again, just out there wandering aimlessly, doing a whole bunch of things that really isn't adding up.
Absolutely.
It's not adding up. And Suzanne, that used to be me. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. Like, why am I not, in the place that I desire, to be? Right. So first of all, I didn't know where I desired to be because I didn't have a vision. Like, not that I didn't have a vision, the vision wasn't clear because I didn't write it down. I didn't revisit it. There was nothing there like to keep me on track. when I kind of
Mhm.
veered off track. Okay. And so that's definitely like the first key step, like knowing where exactly you're going. What is
Mhm.
it exactly that you're aspiring to, or what is it that you're building? And then you find, even though things are hard, because that's the thing that how I feel, right? So even though I might have challenges, on this journey of entrepreneurship, like not everything is easy. We all know that.
No
But
kidding.
every week, I promise you, is something new, right? Right? But it's that thing, like you wake up every day just excited and ready to go, right? Because you
Mhm.
know what it is that you're building towards. Okay. And then having the awareness, like to do that check, like before I commit to doing this, does this lead me towards, ultimately where I want to go? Or is it something that's taking me away
Yeah,
from where I want to go? Okay. And once I start like doing that check, then things are becoming easier, for me
yeah,
to
things fall
decide,
away, don't they?
yeah, where I'm spending my time.
Oh, so well said. And it brings me to the concept of being intentional
Hmm.
and rituals and routines. And I said I was going to talk about, being intentional and rituals and routines. And so I think the other thing, the reason most people procrastinate or many people procrastinate is because they are attempting to eat the elephant in one big bite,
Mm,
proverbial, the elephant thing. So people try to jump from I have a vision to the end of the road and
right.
go, oh, it's all done. I have a goal and the end of the road and it's all done. And the reason we procrastinate is that you and I can't see the pathway
Mhm.
when we're starting and then we're jumping to the end. And I tell people all the time the how is none of your business. Just
Mm,
the next step is your business. And this is what I mean. So if I'm standing and I'm looking out into the horizon going, oh yeah, I'm gonna be I'm in Montreal and I'm going to Toronto, which is 5 hours away. Well, I can't see Toronto. And if I want to know exactly all the bumps and curves and stops in the road on my way to Toronto, I'm not going to see it standing in Montreal.
yeah.
So what happens is I have to get on the journey. I have to start the journey. So
Mhm.
this is how when we start the journey, I call it the rituals and the routines. What are the rituals and routines I'm going to do every day that's going to put me one step, two step, three steps closer to where I want to go? And so what breaks down or kicks procrastination in the butt, if you will, is when you and I start identifying goals that are small and doable. And
Mhm.
and to know that success is a compounded effect of tiny small wins. That's what it is. Compounded effects for tiny small wins. Now, this is what tends to happen when you do those tiny small wins. And I know I'm seeing some people out there who've been doing their videos and doing who've been in our freestyle program. And we've been, okay, today we're going to work on your introduction. Today we're going to work on the first part of telling your story. Today we're going to work on, and people are like, I can't do videos. Now we've got people doing kick butt videos and dropping them. But it was like, let's start one, win. Step two, win. Step three, win. But this is what those small wins do. It's like those small wins fill up your confidence tank, fill up
Yeah.
your belief tank, fill up your self-worth tank. Another success habit, right? It fills up your I can do this tank. It fills up your sense of self. And then and as the more you have these small wins, you're less likely to procrastinate because you have evidence. And this is the key thing. You have evidence of your capacity and your capability. And you're moving from feeling incompetent to more and more competent. The other thing that happens is that when you get lost in the desert, that you can find your way out.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we procrastinate because we don't have any evidence that if when we get lost, we will find our way out. The more you do those small things, right? one step at a time, the less you're going to be likely to procrastinate because you can see it, it's doable, and it gives you evidence that fills you up.
Yeah. I like what Ken is sharing. And he says the brain likes to do things it can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Like, one of the things that I found very frustrating, on this journey is, setting goals, right? And I really had to become present to maybe I don't know or I didn't know what it meant to set goals. Okay. And
Yeah,
no, no, yeah, it was
I
very,
got
very
you. I got
interesting, right? Because yeah, I was that entrepreneur, that person, who probably had the same goals for like 10 years,
Yeah.
right? And I was just like, oh, okay. And I've heard people say, like, oh, if you didn't hit your goal, then you need to make the goal bigger, right? So I'll go ahead and just expand it like 10 times, right? On paper, right? Boom. Okay. And then it's like somebody else will look at it like, how you gonna do that? And you can't even do this. You need to shrink the goal. So you go back to the paper, you rewrite it, and then you make a goal smaller, right? You still
Crazy,
in
crazy making.
right, right. So whether it's big or whether it's small, I'm frustrated, right? Because it's like, you know, what is it? Until I really understood, like,
Mhm.
how do you go after goals? Okay. And it's exactly what it is we're talking about, right? Is being able to take a look at where you want to be. That's the vision.
Mhm.
Then the goals, right? What are the steps? Okay. And then is like breaking everything down. This is where I
Down.
get into Taria. So if you're going to get a goal setting book from me, it's not going to be like 1,000 pages or anything. It's going to be one page with this. Like, break it down into tiny,
Right.
steps, right?
Right. Easy.
And then the question is, what are you going to do like every day that
Yeah.
leads you towards that? And so even if your action today is to write the title, and that's all you do today, that's fine. Even if it's to write the outline the next day, then that's fine. Okay.
Mhm.
Just know that every day you have these little things that you are working towards to get you to where
You
you
want to
want
go.
to be. And I
Yeah.
love that Ken says, like, it's that thing, like the brain absolutely loves success and craves success. So once you do something and you accomplish it, even if it's just writing the title, right? Then the brain says, yes,
Right.
here's the title. And then so tomorrow you're excited, like, what else am I gonna, work on, today? And then you just keep moving forward. So I thought that this was gonna be the time that I talk about my abs, right? But I'm not gonna talk about my abs on the podcast.
Tiny little incremental steps. So,
Yes.
what is so neat that I wanna highlight is that anyone who works with me, I tell them, so you're gonna set 100 goals, and people always look at me like, what?
What?
The what? Right? And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna write 100 goals, and I give them 10 categories, and I go write 10 goals, set a target, and write 10 goals in each category. What's interesting is most people accomplish about 75% of those goals, because all I'm doing is saying set a big target and then write 10 things that you need to do, right, to hit this target. And then what it becomes very, very doable. And then I say, and this is kind of, we're deep into rituals and routines right now. Each week, only put 3
Yeah.
goals or targets on your plate, and then back yourself into it. What am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? Make it so bite sized that you will accomplish that. So what happens, and I've seen it with you, I've seen it with so many people that work with me, is that as they move along, it's like bite size, bite size, bite size, bite size, and then they're getting excited. Now this is the thing, and Ken is alluding to this. When you set those small, tiny goals, you must celebrate. Celebrate, 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 because the mind needs the happy dance. That's how you change the conversation that when you started going, I can't do this, the mind needs you to celebrate so it can actually file the celebration and go, yes, I did this. But this is the other thing, and this is the shift so that we don't procrastinate, is that the mind also needs you to be grateful
Oh,
for everything. So people put grateful for everything, put everything big capital letters. Your mind needs you to be grateful for everything. Because what the other reason we procrastinate is when something happens and we start that ungrateful downward spiral conversation, and then your mind goes, "Ooh, we need to avoid that. Don't go near there. That's danger, right? Don't go near there. That'll create worry. Don't go near there. That'll create upset." When you sit in gratitude for everything, I mean everything, 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 what went wrong, what was
mhm.
challenging, the win, the miss, the no, all that stuff. When you start sitting in gratitude for it, and this is the next question: what am I meant to learn? How am I meant to grow? What is the blessing hidden in this moment? Right? How am I being asked to course correct, redirect, take another fork in the road? When you start asking those questions, you start getting great answers. And then you're excited for the mishap, the 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 getting off path, whatever happened, because now you've collected the data. And the reason we often procrastinate is when we think of a miss as a negative thing, then we don't go mine the data and
Yeah.
we don't get the information that is designed to have you course correct and keep moving. Okay, that was we're just preaching tonight. Like everybody, I
Yeah.
hope you're in there taking notes, right?
So I was just about to say, for those of you who struggle with this, like, you need to work with Suzanne. I'm just going to say it, like, shameless plug, right? Because I have those moments, and it's always so amazing to me, like when we have our conversations and I, share those moments with you, you always manage to go, this is so perfect. And I'm like, did she not hear what I just said? Like, the world is coming to an end. Like, no, 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 no. This is perfect. You're exactly where you need to be.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it's something that, you know, I'm learning, to put in practice, with everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you said something that's so key, right? You talked about the data. And so a lot of times we don't want to take a look at the data.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is be in my feelings right now. Okay.
I want to have my pity party with
Right.
you.
That's what I want to do. Right. Is I want to be in my feelings. But here's the thing. Like, when I go back and I take a look at the data and I analyze the data, oftentimes what I found is that I'm never off by
A
a
lot.
long shot, right? Is always those small little things, those small little tweaks, adjustments, right? That, that need to be made. Okay. And then so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's all it is.
You're
Let me
not
go
mad.
back and do that. Right. And then you go back and you do it, and then you get a different result. Right. Or it's like, oh, okay, this works. So I didn't, hit the goal. I didn't hit the target, but we definitely saw some things here. Okay. So what are the things that we need to get rid of? Staying focused, right? So maybe you don't need to do a million things to get to your goal. Maybe it's just 10 steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, like I see it all the time. I see it with myself, Suzanne. I see it with clients, right? They have the goal and then they're trying to make like this whole big roundabout. No, you don't need to do that. You just need to do these
1, 2, 3.
Right? 1, 2, 3, and then boom, that's it. So analyzing the data, is like where you need to be or what it is that the thing that you need to focus on, because
Yeah.
then you're always able to kind of course correct, right? But the course correction can't happen like if you quit, you give up, hence again lending more weight to the procrastination.
Nathan. And so now you're alluding to managing your emotions. Another success habit. We listed them off last week on the live. So if you
Yeah.
want to get the list, you want to go back and watch that. But another success habit is managing your emotions. And this is what I know. One of the principles in mindset mastery is acceptance.
Mhm.
And acceptance cannot exist without us managing our emotions, which is the feeling of guilt, shame, anger, frustration, blame, all those things that put us down the path of procrastination, but also put us down the path of negative self-talk and beating ourselves up.
Yeah.
So when you and I are able to manage our emotions, we are then able to look at the data objectively. And the data is just the data. Cindy's on and she'll say, numbers don't lie,
Yep.
right? Numbers don't lie. Information don't lie. I remember when I used to be a court worker and I go in, when I first started, I go in and I'd have my song and dance story I got to tell the judge. And he'd say, Miss Hart, I'm not interested in your opinion. Julie, I just want the facts. He don't want no story. He just wants the facts.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're looking at or looking for is, can I push away my opinions, all the stories I want to write, all my emotional stuff, to look at the data objectively. And when you and I are able to manage our emotions and look at the data, the information is always there. Sometimes you might have to have a friend help interpret the data. Sometimes you might have to have a friend help you learn what to do with the data. But if you look at the data, your next move is right there.
Yeah.
And when you're able to look at the data without the emotion, it's almost like it creates this clearing for action. And procrastination doesn't get in there, because what creates procrastination is our inability to manage our emotions, and therefore we become the meaning-making, story writing, brilliant machine that creative people are, particularly us super achievers whose minds are like lit up with information. That is what we do. Wow. This was good.
Yeah, it is.
This is good. So let's leave them with a few steps. So 1, cast a vision worthy of your life.
Yes.
2, set the goals, right? Set a target and do small incremental goals to get you to the target. Number 3 is make an action plan. Develop a ritual, right? And number 4, do not overload your plate. Not more than 3 outcomes per day. Execute the action. Examine the data. Course correct. Celebrate actually before you course correct. Sit in gratitude for the data and the lesson. Course correct. Get into action again. Repeat. Now, this is the last thing I'll tell you, because this is my learn. Anybody who knows me knows I'm ritual and routine girl. Everything is automated. Everything's like a little ritual. Why? Because I can get into my feelings pretty easy. I can get into my own trauma and drama, suffering, all that stuff. When I have a ritual and routine, it's almost like I get on some sort of autopilot. I spend my week, my Sunday doing my plan. I map out my night, what I'm going to do each night, and then when I wake up, it's on and popping, and I'm in action. I don't have time to work myself into a procrastination frenzy conversation.
I love it, right? Because 2 things: the rituals and routines have definitely been like the shifter for me. And so one of the things that I had to learn and get present to, like for every goal that I want to accomplish, what are the steps?
Mm-hmm.
How can I turn it in, or turn it into something that I do habitually, like every day, because everything is like really a process.
Right.
So I'm gonna go back um, to the writing for a second. Okay, so now writing isn't a chore for me, anymore. I don't have the mental block
Yeah.
that I used to have around writing. Why? Because it's something that I do every single day now.
A little
Okay,
bit.
yeah, so it's every single day. And as I read, I write, and that's a part of my morning. And like my days feel so off, like when I don't do
Yeah.
those things. Okay, and then the second thing is like everything has a process. You could always find strategies that will allow you to do something differently than how
Mhm.
you've been doing it before, something definitely that
Yeah.
makes it easier. So, we came up with our strategy, right? That makes knocking writing out. Okay. Just like that. And I found now that I implement that in like everything, that I do, and it works. And then the second thing that I didn't hear us touch on, and I'm just going to touch on it briefly and then you could add to it, is accountability.
Mm. That's
And
a
so,
whole call unto itself, right?
yeah, yeah. And so, like I had to really, understand, like redefine accountability. So before I used to think accountability, like, how people say, oh, you need to be a part of an accountability group. Oh, you need an accountability partner, until I met Suzanne Hart. And Suzanne's like, let me define accountability for you. So accountability is this. This is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to hold up the mirror. You look in it, and then you decide from there.
Do you like who you're
Do you
being?
like it or not? Right? And they're
Choose.
like, oh, right. And so I had to like really learn that the only person, who could, hold me accountable is me. Okay. And that answered like another big question for me. Like, why do we get in these accountability groups, these accountability circles, and still, like, the feeling you come to the accountability call and you did nothing. And like 5 minutes before the call, you're trying to, oh God. So it's like, who are you being?
Yeah.
It's just like, who are you being? And so one of the things that I've learned is to create accountability systems, for myself. And so I see that Anila is out there. So Anila knows me, Cindy knows me. Whenever there's something that I know I need to get done and I want accountability, I pull other people in. Okay. And
Yeah.
I don't pull them in from the standpoint that I need them to remind me what to do. I pull them in from the standpoint is that it's easier for me to show up for them than it is to show up for myself. So if I have to show up for myself, I'm just being honest, I probably won't show up most days. I'm working on it. Okay. But once I've made the commitment, to others, then I show up. So I'm just smiling because I created a whole accountability group, because I wanted to get better, at achieving goals, right? And
Absolutely.
so I started to pull people in.
Yeah. It's interesting because we have a group that works out in the morning, 6 a.m. It's
Mhm.
called the 6 a.m. club. We work out for 30 minutes. We crush it. And I started the group because I was committed to working out. Now I've been doing working out for a long time on my own, but it just became more fun to do it with friends. But this is the interesting thing. On that dead of winter, dark,
Yeah.
black, cold day where my bed feels really good, I know I'm going to be my word. And I know that people are counting on me to be my word. So when you set up those accountability process, and we will definitely do a live on this one,
Yes.
it wins. But this is, if I give you nothing else as you we wrap, is that being willing to honestly look in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I being in relation to what I said and where I'm committed to arriving, my vision. If you wake up asking yourself that every day, Would I hire me? Would I partner with me? Would I collaborate with me? When you look in the mirror, right? That's the check in. That is the mastery of checking in and the accountability of who am I committed to being day in, day out, right? The last thing I'll say as we wrap is accountability. Accountability. Everything that we've talked about, they are habits. Habits are practices.
Yeah.
It's in order to change a habit, you and I must commit to the practice and keep that habit in the forefront of our mind. And it's a consistent, persistent process for change and transformation. But when it happens, one habit can change your life.
Yeah.
One habit can move you from where you don't want to be to beyond where you thought you'd ever be. One habit. So our topic tonight is why your bad habits are eroding your confidence and why often our bad habits show up in this thing called a procrastination, avoidance, all those beautiful things, right? I'm asking you to honor your word for yourself. Be a person of integrity for yourself so that when you look in the mirror, you go, ooh, I like who I'm being. I like who's looking back at me, and watch the magic of confidence begin to build. I have been sitting down and chatting with social media strategist Taria Hodge. This was unstoppable mindset, right? And if you're looking for a community of people who have a desire to live their life with passion and purpose, kick fear to the curb and be excited when challenges come their way. You want to join our Facebook group, Unstoppable Mindset for Superachievers? We will drop the link in the comment section. And if you want to find out more about what Tria was talking about, the Mindset Mastery Mastermind, where we really unpack a lot of the things we were talking tonight, we go deep on those. It's a year-long journey. We will also put that link in the comment section, and you can definitely check it out. My name is Suzanne Hart. This was Unstoppable Mindset. Thank you for joining us. We will be back here next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys for playing full out. Thank you for all your amazing comments. We're going to go back and comment back and enjoy what everyone said. So blessings, and remember, know you are brilliant. Know you are special, and don't procrastinate because the world is waiting for your unique gifts. Take care, and we'll see you next week.